I don't even know what to say at this point. Terrible special teams. A Florida team who was missing so many players, so many of their regulars. You just got destroyed 8-2 in your last game. And this is how you come out? This was not good enough. Not even close to being good enough. There is a plus side to all this. As the season rolls on, and if this continues much longer, I'm going to get more and more frustrated, which is going to make for better content. This team is hopeless. I feel like they're genuinely hopeless. Like, I don't even know where to begin. I know we're only a little over halfway past this, halfway through the season, so it might sound crazy to say, but I think this was the biggest game of the season for the Sens. And they just looked way too flat tonight for my liking. Way too flat. And I'll get into it more as I go through my notes. So, Saturday, January 10th, the Sens played Game 44 against the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, 7 o'clock PM Eastern start time. This was the second time they have met this season, and Florida also beat them back on October 11th by a score of 6-2 in Florida. So, hey, we're 0-2 against Florida now. I mean, really no shame in that. They got a good team still, but man, I don't know. Just they're missing so many of their regulars, and they couldn't take advantage. And I'll be talking more about that in a second here. So starting goalies was, can you guess who started for the Sens again? It was Levi Meralainen again, because why wouldn't it be? Sergei Bobrovsky for the Panthers. Sens were 20-18-5 coming into tonight. Panthers were 22-18-3 coming into tonight. There's no excuses. There are no excuses for tonight. The Sens had a full, healthy lineup tonight, minus Allmark. Florida's missing Tkachuk still. They're missing Barkov. They're missing Jones. And they're missing others as well. But they came out so... They just looked so flat tonight. And I don't know how you fix this. I really don't. And let's just get into the stats. Alright, so the Florida Panthers beat the Sens by a score of 3-2. The Sens are now 20-19-5, and they have lost 4 in a row. We're kind of getting used to this. Panthers now 23-18-3. So let's look at the stats, shall we? There's one that really stands out. Shots were 21-20 for the Panthers. Face-off percentage, this doesn't matter. We know it doesn't matter. 54.1% for the Sens, 45.9% for the Panthers. Get a load of these special teams. Panthers, 2 for 4 on their power play. Sens, 0 for 5. I will not freak out. I will not freak out. I will not freak out. Who is telling this team not to shoot the puck on the power play and odd man rushes? Who is telling them to pass it off every single time? Who's doing that? I think that's driving me crazy more than anything else. This team passing up chance after chance to shoot the puck, and they don't. What is that? Is it coaching? Is it mental? What is it? Shoot the puck, dude. I don't know how many times you're going to hear me say that a lot throughout my notes. Passing up a chance to shoot. It happened a lot tonight, and I don't know what the issue is with that. Penalty minutes, 12 for the Panthers, 10 for the Sens. Hits 24-20 for the Panthers. Block shots were 14-6 in favor of the Sens. 13 giveaways for the Sens, 12 giveaways for the Panthers. Takeaways were 6-5 for the Panthers. And these two teams, they will meet 2 more times this season. Next time will be March 31st in Florida. Here's the thing. You can look at this game, look at the score, and be like, oh, yeah, it was close. They lost by 1 goal. The shots were close. It's a close game. It's a tight game. But the thing is, like, Florida didn't really look that spectacular tonight either. Like, it's not like they looked like world beaters. I mean, they just... Florida's been struggling, too, coming into this game. And you could clearly tell that this is two teams that were struggling. More so for the Sens. So, we'll go through the notes. So, we start off the first period, we start off the game here, and Rodriguez takes a high-sticking penalty because every penalty feels like it's high-sticking or tripping. No shot attempts on this power play. None. Nope. Forget shots. Not even a shot attempt on this power play. That is... What is that? What is that? Tell me. How does a professional hockey team not even get a shot attempt on a 2-minute power play? How? Why? Figure it out. And then, get this. Ready for this? Zetterlund, 1 second after the power play expires, Zetterlund would go for a cross-crease pass, and it would deflect off a Florida player, and it goes in. You know what's funny here? Even though the Sens took a 1-0 lead, I wasn't even happy at all. Nope. Call it negativity, call it whatever you want, but because they looked so flat at the start of this game. They looked flat all night pretty much, minus certain points they didn't, but I didn't really care that much, to be honest. So it goes in, right? Cool. So Zetterlund scores at the 4:03 mark, his 11th of the season from Pinto and Giroux. Sens go up 1-0, but I didn't really care. So we would get a commercial break 6 minutes and 21 seconds into the period. The shots are 1-0 for Ottawa. But the only shot was the goal. That wasn't even a shot. This is a complete snooze fest to start this game. There's nothing going on. Neither team is shooting. Again, the Sens goal wasn't even a shot. There's nothing going on. So, Zub would take a high-sticking penalty. Because why wouldn't it be high-sticking? Sticks are hard to control, apparently. I don't know. So, power play for Florida. They would have a shot go off the post, and Rodriguez would get a drag shot from the slot, and he would score on the power play. Yep. Sens do nothing. They don't even attempt a shot on their power play. Florida gets one. Boom, back of the net. Easy. Crazy what happens when you shoot the puck, you know? So, Rodriguez scores at the 11:34 mark on the power play from Ekblad, and that ties the game at 1. So yeah, cool. Top-notch penalty kill back at it again. So then, Samoskevich would get a good look. That was stopped by Merlainen. There was a 2-on-1 for the Sens. No shot comes out of it. Shocker, right? Amadio would get hit hard, and then he would get knocked into another Sens player, and they would both go down. I didn't put down who the Sens player was, but this is kind of a train wreck here. And this turns into kind of a fire drill in the Sens end, this shift. So I'm like, okay, is it going to be a goal or a penalty? It's one of the two, right? You can just feel it. Sometimes you just know. And sure enough, Zub would take another penalty. So, second penalty of the period for Zub. This one's for interference, but the Sens kill it off. Okay, so we're still tied. So Greg would have a chance. He would go down the wing, and guess what he did? Can you guess what he did? He didn't shoot. Yeah, he went for the pass again. Shocker, right? Nothing new. We've been here before. Then there was a scrum around the Ottawa net, and nothing really came out of that. No penalties or anything. There was another chance down low for the Sens. Can you guess what they did? Just take a wild guess what they did. They didn't shoot. They go for the pass again. Again, who's telling them to do this? To me, it just looks ridiculous. When you've got a 2-on-1, I get it. You don't want to be selfish. You don't want to shoot. You will never in a million years hear me complain about somebody shooting the puck on a 2-on-1. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't know. I really want to know who is telling them to do this. Or if it's a mental thing, whatever the heck it is, because it is happening way too much for my liking. And it's like the story of the game. One of them, at least. Anyways, we end the first period. Tied 1-1. The shots were 8-5 for Florida in the first period. 5 shots for Ottawa. In the first period, after you get destroyed 8-2, and one of those shots wasn't even a shot because it was the goal that deflected in off a Florida player. So really you have 4 shots. 4. And you're at home as well. That's just not good enough, man. It's not. Say what you want. It's not good enough. So we roll into the second period, and one of the refs got hit with the puck 26 seconds in. That was scary. He ended up being okay, thankfully, so that was good to see. There was a Florida one-timer that was stopped by Merrilainen, and then Florida would take a high-sticking penalty, another high-sticking penalty again. And then, short-handed, Reinhart gets a breakaway, but he hits the post. There were a lot of posts tonight. Then after this, after he hit that post, there was a mad scramble around the net. Merrilainen was like way out of his crease. This was just another fire drill of a shift. Somehow it stays out. I don't know how, but it did. And then Batherson would have a wide open net. Wide open net. He has the puck. The net's wide open. Just guess what he did. He actually shot it, but he hit the post. Isn't that fun? Isn't that great? It's what I said before, right? Like, if you don't put in the effort, you're not going to get rewarded. It's, it's like they say, what they say about the hockey gods. They just looked way too flat tonight for my liking. That's me personally speaking, but yeah, wide open net, he hits the post. Because why not? So, the Sens, at this point, they are attempting shots, which is good. That's a start. But they're either missing the net or they're getting blocked. So, the Sens at one point had 1 shot in 16 minutes. Like, there's nothing that anybody can say to me that would make me believe that that's good enough. It's just not. It's awful. So Verhaeghe would take a delay of game penalty. Ottawa goes back to the power play. And they get a couple of shots on this one, but they don't score. But at least they shot, right? But at this point, I'm thinking just no more power plays. The power play just looks terrible tonight, as you can see by the 0 for 5. So Florida would get a 2-on-1. That was stopped by Merrilainen, but they shoot it. They shot the puck. The Sens don't do that on 2-on-1s. Why would they, right? So Chabot would take a slashing penalty, and then a Verhaeghe wrister would go in off the post on the power play. Simple as that. Nothing fancy. Just a wrist shot. Goes in. That's how you score. Anyways, Verhaeghe scores at the 13 mark. It was actually his 13th of the season as well. That's weird. Forsling and Lundell draw on the assists, and that would put Florida up 2-1, and I knew it was game at that point. Nah. The Sens just looked way too so emotionless. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you'd think, I'll talk more about that at the end, but you'd think they'd be more fired up for tonight, and I just didn't see enough of it for my liking. I really didn't. So, the Sens would get a shot. It would go off the post. So another post for the Sens. That's fun. And I have in my notes here, just not good enough. Not enough intensity, not enough emotion. It's just not good enough. So then Pinto would take a delay of game penalty. So Florida goes back to the power play. And now there's this play. So Verhaeghe would hit Zub from behind into the boards. This was a bad hit. Very bad hit. This would lead to a scrum, and I got a lot of things I need to say about this play. Okay, so initially, I'm looking at the play, I'm thinking, okay, could this be a major? I don't know. Zub stayed down for a bit. He got up relatively quickly, right? They ended up calling this a minor. They did not call a major on this hit. In my opinion, I think if Zub stayed down longer, I think they might have called a major. But what happened was Zub would go to the dressing room after the hit. And again, they do call a minor, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, we don't really know, right? Because if Zub comes back later on in the game, then the minor penalty was justified. And sure enough, Zub did come back later in the game. So the minor penalty, I think, was justified. That's my opinion. Now, because of this, the fans were not happy. They thought it should have been a major. And again, I'm sitting here thinking, well, I don't know. Because Zub got up pretty quickly. I think a minor, I think it was kind of okay, right? But the fans were not happy, and they started throwing stuff on the ice. Don't do that. I don't care what the sport is. I don't care who is playing. I don't care what's going on. Don't throw stuff on the ice, please. Just don't. Like, I shouldn't have to explain this. Nobody should have to explain this, but that's dangerous. And it can also cause you can cause a delay of game penalty for your own team. You can actually hurt your own team quite literally by doing that. So don't do that, please. I always that just it frustrates me every time I see that. Like, I get it, you're upset, but come on. It's like I said, I have so much I want to say about this. We're all I can't even speak. We're all well aware of the rumors and everything that's going on with Allmark. This team is starting to get kind of a not the best identity, and then we're doing stuff like this. Like, come on, man. Just why? So what happened was they were throwing stuff on the ice, and something spilled onto the ice. It looked like beer. I think it was a can of beer. So there was a delay. They had to clean up the ice. They did not end up giving a penalty because of this, but they very well could have. So yeah, that's again, I'll say it again, like the minor penalty, it's hard to tell in the moment, right? Because like how hurt is Zub, but he did come back later on, so the minor penalty ends up being justified, right? So there you go. I mean, I think they made the right call. I really did. This is coming from a Sens fan, so. Anyways, we'd end up playing 4-on-4 for a bit. Shots were 8-7 in the second period for Florida. That's just not good enough, man. They got 12 shots after 2 periods. I don't know. But anyways, we roll on to the third period. So we would start the period 4-on-4. So Mikkola would have a one-timer. That was stopped. That was a good chance for him. And then Forsling would have his shot go off the post again, another post. And then shortly after that, Forsling has all the time in the world. I don't know, everyone just kind of went out to lunch here. And he walks in, he cruises in, and he blasts one, and he scores. Because it's, yeah. He's able to walk right down Main Street, so it's about as easy as it gets. So Forsling scores at the 3:48 mark of the third period. And Ekblad and Verhaeghe draw the assists, and that puts Florida up 3-1. Well, I knew it was over at 2-1, so that's just some insurance, right? So, you know, whatever, sure. And I have in my notes again. It's this is a horrible effort, just continuing to pass up chances to shoot. I don't know what it is. So Giroux would get a chance. He was in all alone. He actually shot it here, but he was stopped. So, but at least he shot, right? And in my notes again here, Ottawa gets a 2-on-1. They don't shoot again. Like, I think I'm going to stop making notes of this. Is there even any point? Like, if they get a 2-on-1, we know they're not going to shoot. It's just a given at this point. So that's kind of when I was like, yeah, is there even any point of making a note of this anymore? Because they always do it. It's the same thing. Because right after this, Dylan Cousins would have a chance to shoot, and he would pass it off instead. Because why not? Ah, oh boy. Because who wants to shoot, right? Why would you? And here, right around, I think this is like maybe halfway through the third period, they just look completely defeated. The team just looks completely just done. It's just like, and like, I'm not gonna sit here and say they don't care and they're not trying, but I don't know. It's just there's not enough emotion for me personally. Like, I know Brady was talking to the media there. They showed him in the interview talking about the rumors and all that, and they're not happy about it. But it's like, you translate that into your play on the ice, right? That's what it's all about. Because again, I don't know. Me personally, I'd be fired up as heck. Like, I would have came out absolutely guns a blazing in this one, but I just didn't really see that tonight from the Sens. I didn't. Like, yeah, there were moments like on the Verhage hit, but don't wait for something like that to happen and then show the emotion. You know what I mean? Like, just, you gotta do it from start to finish, and I just didn't see enough of it tonight. I really didn't. So, Florida would take a tripping penalty, and again, it doesn't matter, right? Now, this penalty, or sorry, this power play looked awful. The Sens actually passed it out of the zone twice on this power play. Like, what? They just look so defeated, right? They just look done. So Florida would have a shot go off the post. This was after the power play ran out, and Giroux would get a shot, and it was deflected in by Batherson. Okay. And I was like, okay, cool. Again, I didn't care. It was too little too late. But this is what's frustrating. There was nothing fancy about this play. Giroux just shoots it, and it was deflected. That's all you gotta do. Just shoot the puck. Shoot the puck, and you will score more goals. It's pretty simple to figure out. Anyways, Batherson scores his 17th of the season at the 18-18 mark from Giroux and Sanderson. It would make it 3-2. But again, too little too late. 3-2 ends up being your final. And the shots in that third period were 7-5 in favor of the Sens. And I'm checking the shots right now. It actually says 21-19 for Florida overall. I got 21-20 on my layout, but that's okay. Again, they tend to update stuff later on. Not a big deal, but yeah, just not good enough for me personally. So we'll run through the 3 stars. So 3 stars of the game was Forsling was the first star. He had a goal and an assist. He had the game winner, of course, so makes sense. Ekblad had 2 assists. He was the second star, and the third star was actually Giroux. He had 2 assists as well. So we'll go through the box score. Look at the Sens here. Not really too much to report on tonight. So Giroux, as mentioned, he had 2 assists. Pinto also had an assist. Batherson and Zetterlund were the goal scorers. And for the defense, Sanderson had an assist. And for plus minus, let's see. Jensen was -1. Chabot was +1. Pinto and Giroux were +2. Zetterlund and Perron were +1. And actually, wow, Jensen was the only player who was a minus tonight. Interesting. I mean, there were 2 power play goals, so interesting. Time on ice leader, Sanderson played 28:07, which led all skaters. And Stützle played 24:01, that led all forwards. Tkachuk with 3 shots, leading all forwards. And Sanderson with 4 shots, that led all the defense. Chabot had 4 block shots, which led the defense. And Pinto had 2 blocks, which led all the forwards. And Pinto and Gregg had 3 hits, leading all forwards. And Chabot had 3 hits. Clevin led the way for defense in hits with 4. And there is something I want to look at, because they showed a stat for the shots. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, they end up getting 9 shots from forwards tonight, which is still not good, but There was a stat they showed during the game. It was like it was worse than that. I forget exactly what it was. I should have jotted it down in my notes, but it's just not good enough. Like, yeah, so 9 shots from your forwards, and then they got 10 from the defense. Like, they don't really have like, yeah, okay, some guys are offensively minded a little bit, like Sanderson and Shabbat, but your defense shouldn't have more shots than your forwards. That should not be happening. So this was just not good enough, man. And again, they like this Florida team is missing so many players and they just couldn't take advantage. So you look at the score and you look at the stats and you think, "Oh, well, it was close at least." And yeah, sure it was, but I just don't like the way they're playing. I really don't. And I don't know what's going to take to fire this team up. Uh, Again, is it coaching? I don't know what it is, but this is bad. They've lost 4 in a row now, and if it wasn't for Columbus, because Columbus they've been struggling as well, the Sens would be dead last in the East, because the only team behind the Sens right now in the East is Columbus, but they've lost 3 in a row themselves, so yeah, it's not looking good for the Sens at all, and I don't know how they're gonna fix this. I really don't. So that is pretty much it for this one. So the Sens will be back on it on Tuesday, January 13th. They got the next 2 days off, which is kind of rare, especially this month. And I'm just going to say this right now, dude. They're playing against Vancouver. Vancouver. This team is tied for dead last in the league. They lost 5-0 tonight. This team has been going through it. They have lost 3 in a row. They are 2-6-2 in their last 10. If the Sens can't win this one, I will officially lose all hope. So, I feel like I'm kind of at that point right now, but if they lose that game on Tuesday, that's curtains. Forget it. I'm saying it right now, because that's a game you gotta win. 1000% have to win. So we'll see how it goes. The Sens have 2 days off to prepare for it. So yeah, and that is going to be a home game for the Sens as well. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. This is a frustrating time if you're a Sens fan. Trust me, I would know. I know all about it. So yes, the Sens fall by a score of 3-2 against the Panthers. 4 losses in a row, and I'm just hoping they can stop the bleeding sooner than later. But anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and go Sens go.